If you could, would you sell your memories for cash? Especially if it meant you could clear your debts or pay for life-saving medical care. And how much would you want to be paid? The sign above the shop on the high street reads, "Penny for them." Actually, they pay a lot more than that. And it's not your thoughts they're interested in. They want your memories. MindMine pays handsomely for the juicy ones. They want the memories that sit hardwired in the deepest recesses of your brain. Emotional memories are the most valuable. The deeper, the better. There's a lucrative market and no shortage of buyers, making memory selling the fastest growing source of ready cash. But seller beware. Once the memory is mined, it's gone forever. It's a bank holiday and the local store is in the hands of Dylan, an especially sullen teenager who'd rather be anywhere than having to spend the day cooped up inside a stuffy shop. Cooling off from the heat with his mates at the river, for one. Dylan lolls back in his chair, feet up on the desk, glued to the screen of his phone. He's on with his friends, laughing at their antics, wishing he was there, with them. He barely notices the elderly man who has shuffled into the shop and is stood inside the doorway studying a display on the wall. It's a while before Dylan looks up. "Yes," he calls, but the man doesn't hear. "Can I help you?" Dylan asks again, impatiently. The man approaches the desk. Dylan inspects his dishevelled, tatty clothes and screws his nose. There's a whiff of cabbage about him. "I want to sell a memory," the man announces. Dylan puts down his phone. "Have you done it before?" "Oh yes," says the old man. "Many times." From his pocket he takes out a tattered piece of paper. It's a printout from the shop's computer, dating back to a day, years ago, when they first scanned his memories and listed out the most valuable, saleable ones. Dylan snatches the paper and examines it. "Which one do you want to sell?" The man replies, "The one at the bottom. It's the only one I have left." "You know that once it's gone, Dylan points out. "It is what it is," the man shrugs. Dylan taps the man's details into the computer and brings up his account. He sees the number he's sold over the years. "That's a lot of memories." "Really? I don't remember." "You've done well out of us," Dylan adds cheekily. "Or maybe you've done well out of me," the man responds coldly. "Don't judge. How else am I meant to afford healthcare?" "This is your last decent memory, Mr. Crowther," the man interrupts. "James Crowther. You can call me Jim." "I saved the best for last. Was my best one. It's when I met and fell in love with my soulmate, Sheila." He has no interest in Jim's story, or anyone else's for that matter. So what if they're in debt and can't make ends meet? We've all got troubles. All Dylan cares about is the commission he'll make when he extracts this memory. He points to a computer tablet on a stand on the desk in front of Jim. "Read those," he grunts. "Then sign in the box using your finger." "I know how to do it," Jim says, irritated. "Just 'cause I'm getting on a bit." He pretends to read the terms and conditions, but it's all legalese gobbledygook. With his bony finger, he scrawls something that looks nothing like his real signature. "Memories are the most precious things we have," Jim suggests as Dylan gets up. "So why sell them?" "Because I can't very well sell a kidney," Jim says. "Living is so expensive." Ever since the National Health Service stopped providing healthcare free at the point of need, growing old has become a precarious business. If you're uninsured, and thousands are, don't even think about getting sick. And Sheila is sick. Very sick. Cancer treatment is so expensive, and Jim's life savings are long gone. Steep rises in the everyday cost of living, along with things like the steady creep of monthly subscriptions for every other part of life, means that Jim can't find the cash to pay for Sheila's next round of chemotherapy. Jim mutters a monologue to that effect, but Dylan is already in the room they call the mine, switching on the kit. He calls for Jim to join him and points to the big dentist chair. Jim ogles the bank of screens and switches next to it. Dylan perches on a stool on wheels and taps data onto a screen. He slides over to Jim and gently places something like a bicycle helmet on his head. Dylan makes a few adjustments before sliding back to his station. "I need you to verify who you are." "You know who I am." Dylan slides across again. "Put your fingers and thumb on the pad to your right." As it reads Jim's fingerprints, Dylan holds a camera lens to his right eye and makes a scan of his retina. "Looks like we're good to go," Dylan announces. Dylan hits a green button and folds his arms. The procedure takes 3 minutes and 45 seconds. This had been the most precious memory Jim had left, the exact moment he fell head over heels in love with Sheila. What made this a $5,000, however, wasn't just the thought, it was also the hardwired brain stuff that goes with it. The electrical signals the brain sent that did something physiological to his body. The brain's non-emotional response to the most emotional emotion. This is the stuff that's gold dust to a researcher, an AI engineer, or a marketeer looking for ways to make a product stimulate that same neural response. At the precise moment of extraction, that which had shaped most of Jim's adult personality became nothing more than a commodity for sale on the open market. "All done." Dylan carefully removes the helmet. "Do I get a cup of tea?" Jim asks. "No." "When I give blood, I get a cup of tea. And a biscuit. What you get here is $5,000. That's it. It's done. And Dylan's interest is also done. He returns to his desk out front and is already back onto his mates when Jim emerges and puts on his jacket. "Thanks," he says. "See you next time?" There won't be a next time. There's nothing left in Jim's brain. At least, nothing valuable. Jim leaves the shop and heads for the bus stop where an elderly lady sits, waiting. It's Sheila, but he doesn't know it. A few days before, they'd hatched a plan. "Screw the chemo," she had declared. "It's not working and I want to enjoy what's left of my life. I want to live." That was when they decided to cash in on what memories they had left. Their gamble was that if they'd fallen for each other once before, they could do it again. But as Jim approaches the bench, he has no idea who Sheila is, nor she him. Here it is, the gamble. Will she have the same effect on him that she did 60 years earlier? Will his heart miss a beat? Will he get butterflies in the pit of his stomach? "Anyone sitting here?" he asks. She looks up. Their eyes meet, hers sparkle. His heart flutters. "Going my way?" he asks. "That rather depends," she smiles. "Where are you going?" They strike up a conversation. These two, whose lives have been intertwined for so long, meet again for the first time. They chat as buses come and go. Finally, they stand up together and, hand in hand, board the next bus. Its destination? Anywhere.